Good morning, everyone. My name is Andre, and today we're looking at My Neighborhood Focus Activity 2 to 3. Now, before we begin, let me tell you something about myself. My name is Andre, and I'm from the island of Barbados, a very small island in the Caribbean. But now I live in Rome and I'm working with my English school. So, welcome to another webinar for today, Monday. Happy Monday to you. I hope everyone is doing well today, and I hope you had a very good weekend indoors. So, once again, today is about my neighborhood. Now, what is a neighborhood? A lot of people have difficulty with this word. Now, neighborhood is the area where you live. Yeah, it's the district or the area where you live. So, the apartments in your area is your neighborhood. All that environment is your neighborhood. Hello, Alessia. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining us today. Good. So once again, today is about my neighborhood. And once again, your neighborhood is the area where you live. Yeah. For example, my area, my neighborhood is San Paulo or Ostiense is my neighborhood. Good. So let's continue. Now let's read my neighborhood. In this focus activity, neighborhood vocabulary, there is, and there are, and adverbs of frequency. Yeah. So, my neighborhood, I want you to ask and answer these questions. Okay, Alicia? So, the first question, where do you live? So, Alicia, where do you live? Don't be shy. So, I live in Rome. Yeah, I live in Rome. Second question, what neighborhood do you live in? What neighborhood do you live in, Alicia? Oh, great. So you live in Naples. So remember, Naples is the city, but your neighborhood is the area, the small area where you live. So you live in Naples, but what neighborhood do you live in? What area of Naples do you live in? So I live in Rome, but my neighborhood is Ostiense. What's your neighborhood, Alicia? By the way, I love Naples. I've been to Naples once. Okay, so my neighborhood is Ostiense. Okay, very good. So your neighborhood is Posilipo. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Posilipo. Good. Excellent. Very good, Alicia. So your neighborhood is Posilipo. My neighborhood is Ostiense. Excellent. So let's continue. Third question, is your neighborhood big or small? So Alessia, is your neighborhood big or is it small? Is it big or is it small? My neighborhood in Ostiense is a big neighborhood. So my neighborhood is big. Is your neighborhood big or small, Alicia? I'm sure your neighborhood is big. Excellent. So your neighborhood is big. Excellent. Very good. Let's look at question 4. Do you like your neighborhood? That is an interesting question. Do you like your neighborhood, Alicia? I like my neighborhood. It's a very nice neighborhood. What about yours? And I'm sure there's many, many, many nice neighborhoods in your city of Naples. I really like my neighborhood because there's so many things to do in Ostiense, many things. So I really like my neighborhood. What about you? Okay, no worries. I'm sure you like your neighborhood. So that's question 4. Do you like your neighborhood? Yes, it's very nice. Very good. Excellent. So you like your neighborhood. It's very nice. So remember, it's the contraction. It's very nice. It's very nice. Oops, spelled incorrectly. It's very nice. Good. So my neighborhood in Ostiense is also very nice. It's also nice. Okay, excellent. Yeah, so you can say, I like my neighborhood. It's very nice. So we have to remember to put the subject. It is very nice. Or the contraction, it's. Good. Let's continue. Let's look at question 5. Do you like your neighbors? Do you like your neighbors? Alicia, can you tell me what are neighbors? What are neighbors? Hmm. So we have the neighborhood, and then we have neighbors in your neighborhood. What are neighbors? I'll give you 10 seconds. Hmm. What are neighbors? Okay, so neighbors are the people in your neighborhood, the people that live in your palace, live in your apartment, the people that live in your area. They are called your neighborhood, your neighbors, sorry. Remember, the neighborhood is the area where you live, and your neighbors are the people that live in the neighborhood. Yeah. So people in your palace or your apartment are called your neighbors, your apartment building. Sure. So the question is, do you like your neighbors? Remember, neighbors are the people that live in your neighborhood, people that live in your apartment building. So do you like your neighbors? I like my neighbors because they're very kind. They are very friendly. Do you like your neighbors? So I like my neighbors because they are friendly and they are nice. Good. All right, so let's continue. So these are the questions we use when we're asking about your neighborhood and where you live. So the first question, where do you live? I live in Rome. Okay, so in your apartment, there are 5 people. Yeah, 5 people. Remember, person, singular, people, plural. Right. So in my apartment, there are 5 people. In my apartment, there are 5 people. Good. Remember, in my apartment, there are 5 people. Good. Excellent. So remember, we have where do you live? I live in Rome. What neighborhood do you live in? I live in Ostiense. Is your neighborhood big or small? My neighborhood is big. Do you like your neighborhood? Yes, I like my neighborhood. It's very nice. And do you like your neighbors? Yes, I like my neighbors because they are friendly and they are kind. Good. For you, Alicia, you live in Naples. Your neighborhood is, what's your neighborhood again? Your neighborhood is Posillipo, and your neighborhood is big. You like your neighborhood because it's very nice. Excellent. And do you like your neighbors? You didn't answer that one. Do you like your neighbors? Maybe she doesn't. It's okay. Okay, let's move on. So, vocabulary matching. So, we're going to match the pictures to the photo. We've got library, post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, church, and school. Once again, pictures to the photos. We've got library, post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, church, and school. So let's look at the pictures and match the words to the pictures. So A, which one is A? Is it library? Is it post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, church, or school? So Alicia, can you tell me, what is picture A? Hmm. Can you guess which one it is? All right, I give you 10 seconds. Don't think too hard. A library. Okay, so let's guess what it is. A is a library. Yeah. So A is a library. It's filled with books. So a library is the place where you go to read books or you borrow books. Remember, there's a difference between a library and a bookstore or a bookshop. The difference is that a library, you can only read or rent or borrow books. You have to take them back. Ah, pharmacy, no, library. So remember, the library is where you borrow and where you read books. The bookshop or the bookstore is where you buy books, where you pay for the books. So that's the difference between library and a bookstore or a bookshop. So A is a library. Now let's look at B. This one is interesting. B, is it a post office? Is it a dog park? Is it a pharmacy? Is it a hair salon, a church, or a school? Picture B. Which one is it? Picture B. You've got 10 seconds. Picture B. Post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, church, or school. Picture B. So first of all, it's a building, some type of building. Very specific type of building. So can you guess what it is, Alicia? Picture B. Remember, post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, church, or school. Which one can it be? Let's think. It's very specific. Many people, many people go here to pray. Yeah, to pray. Okay, so let's see what it is. If you said church, it's correct. Yeah, so picture B is a church. Great. Now let's look at picture C. This one looks familiar. So, which word would you use? Is it post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, or school? Which one is it? C, picture C. We associate this with a specific place where we take our letters. C, yeah, picture C. Which one is it? Is it post office, dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, or school? So choose the correct word for picture C. Can you guess what it is? All right, so if you said post office, you're correct. So remember, this specific object is called a post box, where you put your letters, where you put your mail. Yeah, when you want to send a letter to a friend or to a family member, you use the post box. But the location is called exactly a post office. That's where you take the mail, your letters, to the post office. Good, very good, Alicia. So let's look at picture D. So we've got dog park, pharmacy, hair salon, or school. Picture D. Now, the objects in this picture are used for health. They are called pills, or more generally, medication or medicine. So medicine, pills, medication. Where do you find this object or these objects? Is it at a dog park, a pharmacy, hair salon, or a school? Excellent, Alicia. Pharmacy. You're absolutely correct. The pharmacy. Great. Excellent work, Alicia. Now let's move on to picture E. So we've got, is it the dog park? Is it the hair salon? Or is it the school? Picture E. So we've got in the picture, we've got two children and we have a teacher. So where do we find a teacher and children? Picture E. Dog park, hair salon, or school? Tick tock, tick tock. Time is running out. Excellent. School. Very good. So picture E is school. Great. Now let's look at picture F. Now I love this animal. Where do we find this animal? Is it at a dog park or the hair salon? Is it the dog park or the hair salon? This one is difficult, isn't it? Dog park or hair salon? Where do you find this animal? Okay, you've got 10 seconds, Alicia. Dog park or hair salon? Great, very good. Dog park. Great job. So you find a dog at the dog park. Excellent. And of course, letter G is the hair salon. Yeah, where you get your hair done. You get a hairstyle, you get a haircut. You go to the hair salon. Okay, so these are different places we go in the city or our neighborhood. We've got the library, church, post office, pharmacy, school, dog park, and the hair salon. Very good. Let's move on. So, how often? This is a question we use when we want to ask about frequency. How often you do something, how frequent you do something. So now I want you to use these words and phrases to describe your habits. Remember, when we're asking how often, we're asking about habits, things you do regularly, things you do often, things you do frequently. So let's continue. So here we have some adverbs of frequency and we have some phrases of frequency as well. So out of these ones, Alicia, which ones are adverbs of frequency? We've got never, always, every day, once a week, and twice a week. Which words are adverbs of frequency? Can you guess what they are? Adverbs of frequency in this list. Remember, never, always, every day, once a week, twice a month. So if you're not sure, the adverbs of frequency are never and always. These are adverbs of frequency. While every day, I never go to the dog park. The second example, I go to the cinema once a month. Yeah, so this is a phrase of frequency, once a month. Remember, never is the adverb of frequency. Once a month is a phrase specifically about frequency. So I go to the cinema once a month, meaning I go to the cinema one time in the month, one time a month. So once a month, one time a month. The third example is I go to school every day, which means every day, Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday. Remember, when we say every day, we mean 7 days, That's not 7, but 7 days a week. So 5, 7 days a week, every day. Good, excellent. So remember the question, how often do you go? It's the question we use to ask about frequency. So Alicia, looking at the adverbs of frequency and the phrases of frequency, how often do you go to the cinema? How often do you go to the cinema, Alicia? Is it never? Is it always? Is it every day? Is it once a week? Or is it twice a month? Or maybe sometimes? Yeah. So how often do you go to the cinema? For me, I go to the cinema once a month, one time in a month. How often do you go to the cinema? I love the cinema, but I don't go very often. I go once a month. Okay, here's another question. How often do you go to work? I go to work every day, more or less. I go to work every day. How about you, Alicia? How often do you go to work? Is it sometimes? Is it every day? Is it once a week? Is it never? Or is it always? Ah, you love the cinema. Me too. But how often? How often? How many times do you go to the cinema? How often? Maybe you go to the cinema sometimes, or you always go to the cinema, or you go to the cinema once a week or once a month. Oh, great. You go to work every day. Yeah, just like me. Good, excellent. So, Alicia, you go to work every day. Very good. How often do you go to, how often do you go to church? How often do you go to church? I never go to church. I never go to church. Oh, once a week. Okay, great. So you go to church once a week. Very good. On Sundays, right? Every Sunday? I'm sure it's every Sunday. Yeah, so once a week or every Sunday. Oh, you never go to church. Okay. All right, so I never go to church and you never go to church. Good. Very, very good. Next, how often do you go to the museum? How often do you go to the museum? How often do you go to the museum? I go to the museum often. You can use often as well. I go to the museum often. Often. I go many times. I go a lot. What about you? How often do you go to the museum? The museum is a beautiful place to go. Many different things, many different art pieces. Ah, you don't go to church because you don't like church. It's okay. It's okay. Good. What about the museum? Do you go to the museum? I go to the museum very often. Almost every month I go to the museum. Now I can't. Now we can't because we can't leave home. But generally, I often go to the museum. Ah, you go to the museum once a month. Ah, very good. Excellent. It's very artistic, very cultural to go to the museum. Many beautiful art pieces, many beautiful sculptures. Very good. Excellent. Let's move on. So that's using frequency, the adverbs of frequency. We have never, always. We also have sometimes. We can use sometimes as well as an adverb of frequency. But the phrases of frequency are once a month, once a week, once a year, yeah, every day. These are phrases of frequency, while the others are adverbs of frequency. Now let's talk about what is there, what exists in your city or your neighborhood. For example, here's the question: what's in my English school's neighborhood? So, the neighborhood of my English school is where the school is located, the area. Remember, neighborhood. So, what's in my English school neighborhood? Now, when we're talking about things that exist in our neighborhood, we use there is and there are. So we have here, in this neighborhood, there is a school. And in this neighborhood, there are two dog parks. So remember, we use there is and there are to talk about things that exist in your neighborhood. So, first one, there is a school. There is one school. Remember, we use there is for the singular noun, or we use there is for an uncountable noun, nouns that you cannot count. In this case, the noun is countable. So there is a school, but for the plural, we use there are, which means two or more things. So in this neighborhood, there are two dogs, the plural. Remember, there is for singular noun or uncountable noun, and there are for plural nouns. Good, two or more. So there are two dog parks, plural, but there is a school, singular. Always remember that. Here's some more. In this neighborhood, there are lots of restaurants. So here it's plural. So there are lots of restaurants. We use lots of to signify how many restaurants. We can't count how many restaurants because there are too many. So we say there are lots of restaurants. Great. In your neighborhood, there is one dog park. Excellent. Very, very good. This time you have to use the singular. There is a dog park. Yeah, there is a dog park. Remember, it's singular, one dog park. Remember, if it was plural, we would use there are dog parks, plural. Yeah. So remember, always remember is for singular and are for plural. So there is a dog park or there is one dog park. So remember, with the plural, we can use quantifiers like lots. So there are lots of restaurants or there are many restaurants. So those are quantifiers. Many, lots, a lot of. For countable, yeah, for countable nouns, we have many. For uncountable nouns, we use much. But in this case, we're using the countable nouns. So we can use the quantifier lots of. There are lots of restaurants, or there are many restaurants. Excellent, very good. There is a dog park. There are lots of restaurants. So let's look at these other locations. Very good, Alicia. Good, singular. So let's look at the other locations. We've got library, post office, dog park, as we mentioned before, pharmacy, hair salon, church, and school. So now let's look at what is there in your neighborhood, Alicia. So in your neighborhood, is there a library? In your neighborhood, Alicia, is there a library? Remember, singular. In my neighborhood, there is a library. Yeah, so we have singular. In my neighborhood, there is one library. Okay, so let's look at the hair salon. In my neighborhood, there are many or there are lots of hair salons. So we're using the plural here. There's not only one, there are many. So we have to use the plural. In my neighborhood, there are many hair salons. Remember the S at the end for the plural. Hair salons. So there are, plural, many hair salons, or there are lots of hair salons. Now let's move on to the post office. In my neighborhood, there is a post office. Yeah, one post office. Very good, Alicia. In your neighborhood, there isn't a library. So very good. The negative. So remember, we've got the negative, singular, there isn't, and the positive, there is. Remember, for the plural, we have there are, positive, and there aren't for the negative. Excellent work, Alicia. Very, very good. So in her neighborhood, there isn't a library. Very good. So in this case, it's singular negative. Now, in my neighborhood, as I was saying, there is one post office. What about you, Alicia? Is there a post office in your neighborhood? I'm sure there is. Is there a post office in your neighborhood? There is one post office in my neighborhood, which is very close to where I live. Very, very close. Oh, in your neighborhood, there, is it singular or is it plural? Hmm, is it only one or is it more than one? So in your neighborhood, there, plural. That's okay, don't worry. So remember, if it's more than one, we use the plural. We use are. If it's only one, we use the singular. So what's the correct answer? There is a lot of post office. Or there are. Excellent. There are a lot of post, but you forgot the plural, offices. So there are a lot of post offices. Good. There are a lot of post offices. Yeah, because it's plural. Remember, if the object or the location has more than one, if there's more than one, we use the plural. There are a lot of post offices. Always remember the plural of the noun. In this case, we add the S, offices. Good. Very good. So, Alicia, in your neighborhood, not your city, in your neighborhood, is there a school? Is there a school? I know in my neighborhood there are schools. There are not many, but there are schools. What about your neighborhood? Is there one school or are there many schools? In my neighborhood, there are schools and there are universities. I think there are at least two universities in my neighborhood. And there are schools in my neighborhood, more than one school. So remember, if there's more than one, we use there are. If it's singular, there's only one, we use there is. Remember, for the negative, there isn't, and for the plural, there aren't. Good, excellent work, Alicia. So in your neighborhood, there is a school. There is one school. Very good. What about, this one is important. Is there a pharmacy in your neighborhood? Is there a pharmacy in your neighborhood? I hope there is, because it's very important at this time. Yeah. So is there a pharmacy? Okay, but there isn't a university. All right, so there is a school, but there isn't a university. Very good, excellent. Now let's talk about the pharmacy. Is there a pharmacy in your neighborhood? Is there a pharmacy in your neighborhood? Pharmacy, you get your medication, you get your medicine, you get pills, you get the syrup, the cough syrup. Yeah. So is there a pharmacy in your neighborhood? In my neighborhood, there are many pharmacies. So it's plural because there are more than one pharmacy. So there are many pharmacies. Always remember with the plural, we add the S, yeah, to signify the plural, more than one. So is there a pharmacy, Alicia, in your neighborhood? Good. But remember, we don't use the article a, no a. So yes, there are a lot of pharmacies. Good. But don't use the article a because the article a represents one. If there are many, we can't use the article a. Good. All right. Many or a lot, but we don't use a. So yes, there are a lot of pharmacies. Yeah. So there are a lot of pharmacies. Remember, don't use the article a because then it signifies only one. If it's plural, we don't use the article. Yes, there are a lot of pharmacies, or yes, there are many pharmacies. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next slide. So remember, always remember that if you have the singular noun, we use there is, positive, the negative, there isn't. If you have the plural noun, we use there are, positive, or negative, there aren't. Always remember that. Don't use the article a if the noun is plural. A represents one, singular. Alrighty, so we're meeting with the mayor. Prepare for a meeting with the mayor. Tell the mayor what is and isn't in your neighborhood. For example, in my neighborhood, there is a dog park, but there isn't a school. In my neighborhood, there are three supermarkets, but there aren't any libraries. So we have the singular and the plural, positive and negative. You have to tell the mayor what there is, what there isn't, what there are, and what there aren't. Okay, Alicia? So I'll start. So in my neighborhood, there is a dog park, but there isn't a library. Yeah, I don't think there's a library. Before I said there was a library, but no, there isn't a library in my neighborhood. So for me, in my neighborhood, there is a dog park, but there isn't a library. In my neighborhood, there are many supermarkets. Yeah, in my neighborhood, there are many supermarkets, but there aren't, let's see, but there aren't any train stations. Good. So in my neighborhood, there are many supermarkets, but there aren't any train stations. So remember when we use the plural negative, there aren't, we usually say any. There aren't any libraries. In this case, it's a quantifier. There aren't any libraries. None. None, none, none. None. To emphasize that there aren't, we usually use any. There aren't any train stations. So, Alicia, tell me what there is, what there isn't, what there are, and what there aren't in your neighborhood. You're telling the mayor. For today, I'm the mayor, so tell me what there is, what there isn't, what there are, and what there aren't in your neighborhood. I'll give you a couple seconds. Can you tell me? So for me, there are, first of all, uh, there is a dog park. There is a dog park. Good. For me, there is a dog park. For you, there are a lot of pharmacies. Good. Excellent. For me, there isn't a library. There isn't a library. So positive, there is a dog park. Negative, there isn't a library. For you, there are a lot of pharmacies. And what's the negative? What aren't there in your neighborhood, Alicia? The plural negative. So for me, there are positive many schools. There are many schools in my neighborhood. Yeah. And the negative, there aren't any library, well, I should say any train stations. So that's my positive and that's my negative. There aren't any train stations. So tell me the negative plural, Alicia, what there aren't in your, or what aren't there in your neighborhood. Again, there aren't any libraries, plural, in my neighborhood, but there are many schools. Yeah, there are many. And there are many universities. So, okay, there's a dog park, a lot of pharmacies. So there are a lot of pharmacies, but there aren't any libraries, plural, remember, libraries, or universities. but there are a lot of supermarkets. Supermarket. Yeah, very good work, Alicia. Remember, always remember with a singular one, we use is or isn't. For the plural, we use positive are and the negative aren't. So, in your neighborhood, there is a dog park, one dog park, but there are a lot of pharmacies. So that's plural. For negative, there aren't any libraries, plural, libraries, or universities. There aren't any universities, but there are a lot of supermarkets. Good. So always remember for singular is, for plural are, yeah, and always remember the plural for your nouns. So supermarkets, universities, train stations, libraries, and so on. So always remember the plural and always remember the singular. Do not use the article a with the plural noun. Always use a with a singular noun. Okay, guys. Okay, Alicia, thank you so much for joining me today for this webinar. Uh, Focus 2 to 3, My Neighborhood. Remember to stay tuned to our YouTube channel, to our Instagram and Facebook pages uh, to find out more about the schedule and what we have coming up in this period. So always remember, stay tuned to our social media and, of course, to YouTube for more webinars with us here at My English School. See you later. Bye.